Good morning, welcome back. I'm Martin Wenzel. This is Microsoft Flight Simulator. Hope you're having a good morning. We're on the world tour. Flight 237, scheduled flight 237. We're flying from Niue to Auckland, New Zealand. The November India uniform Echo to November Zulu Alpha Alpha. We're in the Airbus A320neo, the FlyByWire A32NX project. The incredible A32NX. Got to keep it alive. I know a lot of people are flying the Phoenix, but the A32NX is still where it's at if you want to save a little cash for some other planes that aren't already available in them. So as I said, we're flying from Niue to Auckland, New Zealand. We're on Air New Zealand. It's going to be flight 6057. We're in the all-black Air New Zealand livery. Looking awesome. And unfortunately can't use GSX Pro at this parking spot because it's isolated or whatever that means. I don't know how to fix any of that, so we're just going to use the systems that come with the A32NX. We're also using FS Crew, or FS2 Crew. FS HUD ATC, you'll hear that going on in the background. We got the Bashi's 4-season pack. We're still in, at least for the northern hemisphere, it's in early summer, late spring. I suppose it'd be the opposite. It's an early, or what do we say, late summer, early autumn. The other side, or no, yeah, something like that. Or maybe late fall? I don't know where we are, how it would be on this other. I think late fall, early winter actually, but not on this island. This island's nice and green and lush. So let's get things going. Just making sure everything is right. There we go. All right, so let's get the charts on that one so I can see. Over here, I want to get my checklist because there's a lot to do. Got a new checklist, as I mentioned yesterday. It works very well with FS2 Crew. It also has a little bit more to it than the checklist I had been using. It's from JD. He's on YouTube. He's a German YouTuber though, but you can find his checklist. He's got great comprehensive checklists. I've been using his CRJ one forever. Great checklist. You can find it on flightsim.to, or I don't know if are there other mod sites for Microsoft Flight Simulator that are challenging flightsim.to, because I know there was that whole kerfuffle over their new terms of service and everything, creators, and where have they all gone? There is one. All right, anyway, we got to get going here because we got a long flight. So we're gonna do our quick safety check here. Engine masters 1 and 2 are off. Ignition selector is in the normal position. Weather radar is off. Landing gear, they're down, and wipers are both off. We're going to press the PFE, which is the pre-flight events. That's going to, first officer is going to start doing things. He's going to power stuff up for us. We should see is the battery switch is going and other things. There you can see where things are going to start popping up. He's going to get the APU going. Doing that, I'm going to start pumping these screens up since it's taking off about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Getting into New Zealand, it's going to be evening and probably dark, I would guess, because it is later in the year. Days are starting to get shorter over in New Zealand. Alright, waiting for things to start there. Turn up the... You see, he's already got the APU started. Up all the lighting. I think there's some flood lighting going. Nav logo light has come on. We're going to do our cockpit preparation panel overhead panel scan, and we're looking for all the white lights to be off. So right there, crew oxygen supply off. The RCDR panel, we want ground control on. We're going to CVR test. You can hear that. Evac panel, captain and purse / captain. We're going to go as required. We'll just keep it captain and purse for that. Go nav for the ADIRs. Strobe to auto. Beacon rains off. Seatbelts will come on once we get fully fueled up. No smoking auto. Emergency exit lights armed. Cabin pressure checking. Right here, no white lights. Air condition panel, no white lights. APU bleed on. X bleed is in the auto position. Battery 1 and 2 off. Then on. Go right here to the ECAM panel. We're looking at the electrics, and we want to see. What do we want to see? Let's say below 60 amps and decreasing. We can see it's going down 31. I think it's kind of leveled off at 31 now.
Okay, I'm out for the walk around.
So first officer's going out for the walk around. Back up to the overhead panel. Make sure we're going here. Engine 1 and 2. These are in and guarded. Push button. Agent lights are out. And we're going to press the test. Good on the fire test. Audio switching is in normal position. Let's see. Check all lights are off on the maintenance panel. That's all the way up there. Go down to the radio management. We're looking for it to be on. Green nav light check on. I might be looking at the wrong panel, to be honest with you. Right, cell light check off. Oh, green nav light is off. I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be seeing that. I don't know if I'm looking at the right place here. Frequency set. Yep. Alright, we're going to jump into the MCDU. And looking at the time here, want to get off the ground in about half an hour. Got about 22 minutes. We're going to start actually loading the passengers, or actually loading the fuel for sure first. The passengers are going to take about 14 minutes. I'm going to give 14 minutes for that. Fuel, about 11 minutes. So we're going to start the fuel. And we're going to start the passenger. We're ready for them. We're doing everything in. Get some audio. Recording music. Yep. Everything's going on inside A20N itself. You see passengers slowly coming on, which is really nice. I think they sit in a pretty normal pattern too. Dissections. Fuel also coming up. Got 11 minutes to get to 11,700. Jump into our flight computer. The FMC. Here we have our active May 18th to June 14th AirAC, so that is good. Pull in our flight plan. Looks like we're going, our alternate's gonna be Christchurch. Got our flight number 6057, cost index 10, and flight level 380. Airway waypoint. Oh, okay. Like a problem in the flight plan for some reason. I'll have to fix that. Go to page 2. We get the zero fuel weight and center of gravity in right away. Here, below 59.3. And 33.0 for the center of gravity. Fuel planning 7.7, but obviously we do have the extra fuel on board, or alternates. Jump into the sim brief. Looking right here at the wind component, minus 52. That means we have a headwind, 52 knots. The time, 3 hours 35 minutes for our trip. Continuing on through, we did the init page. We're going to go over the flight plan. Not a lot in the flight plan being laid out. Kind of double check things. Alright, so we're going direct to November uniform. Then we have...
Hi, I'm back. No issues on the walk around.
Alright. Now, if I remember right, we want to go airways. Romeo 327. We might end up having to do everything direct. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with these. Okay, we're going to go into the flight plan. We're going to get rid of... We're just going to start this whole thing. We're going to see if we can get rid of... waypoint. Yeah, actually we can't do that because we need to have a waypoint. We can't just go to... wanted to go to the airway, but it's not going to the airway from this DOR for some. So we're just gonna skip the airway. We're gonna go Feroa. Good work. There we go. Golf 457. We'll see if this one works. I don't. Issues with the airways. All 457. That works. See if it works going to Selka. It does. Okay. Insert that. We don't have a... What do we do? Right. We're going to be going on arrival. ILS 5 right. We're going to be looking at the Expo 7 Delta arrival via five right. Okay, so what might happen here is we might get rid of Virus because Delta 332 is actually a little further out. It makes more sense to go from Ankill to Delta 332, Mike. But we'll get to that. I'm thinking the winds are also going to shift on us because the flight plan right now we have a tailwind if we come in on runway 5 right. So I'm not sure why why SimBrief has us doing that, but we'll adjust as necessary. All right.
Hi, the security and safety checks are all done. Are you good to start boarding?
Yes.
Okay.
Request ATC clearance.
Clearance delivery. Good afternoon. It's New Zealand. New Zealand is at the gate with the numbers. Requesting ATC clearance. Okay, cleared to our destination as filed. Squawk code is as assigned. New Zealand.
I'm not sure why FS HUD isn't working. Me? How to use glass cockpit to sim game. I'm from South Africa. Welcome in. What do you mean how to use the glass cockpit? You mean the like all these screens. Actually a lot easier than using the old analog stuff. Not letting me. FS HUD ATC doesn't want to work for me today. Fun. I feel like I upgraded. I always like when there's an update for a program and it breaks the program completely, because now it doesn't work at all. This flight might be a little borked on at least having extra aircraft flying around. That's kind of a bummer because I like having ATC to talk to. Huh. Interesting. So why is there an update that kills that program? Always appreciate it when it does that. Alright, we're gonna keep going here. Into our performance page. Calculator on the other side. Go. Problem is, I don't know what runway. Okay, 2A. We might just have to do this all ourselves. I guess we don't have ATC. Or if we do have ATC, maybe I'll turn on the can't get FS HUD to work, we'll try something else. Yeah, I don't know what they did to it. Doesn't want to work for us. Rid of that. And maybe we'll use the go like this. General options. I'm gonna go voices on. Now I'm really wondering, is it not working because I'm just at this airport? Don't have a tower? Maybe? We'll try FSI a little bit later and see if it works. So announce takeoff or select runway for take. Wait. We're gonna announce taxi when we. Okay. What do we want? A calculator. Okay. Got a little thrown off there. Let's calculate. Okay, calculator's giving us a config of flaps 1 plus F, which is typical. 66 for the flex temperature. V1 speeds. pull them in from here. Now the V1 speeds are way lower, it seems, in this FMS versus calculator. Calculators give me 149, 151, 156. We can actually get way more speed, it's saying. But we'll go with the lower speeds that the simulator's given us. Engine out will be 1300 above ground level. Yeah, we're gonna have a very... If we were to go by the higher speeds, we'd have a much shorter margin on takeoff, about 133 meters left on the runway. So we'll stay safe, I suppose. There's our performance checklist. Make sure I'm good. All right, we got the ATC clearance. We'll hear passengers kind of trotting on. Let's see where we're at. We got about 13 more passengers, about a minute to go boarding. Fuel should be complete, it is. We can go up here, turn on the seatbelt signs. I'm not sure what you mean by use the glass cockpit. I mean, do you mean how to use these panels and stuff? Just, yeah, come kind of watch along as I go through it. We just did all of this. Kind of a little hard for me to show you in the A20N because I just kind of, I can just hit one button and it'll pull everything in from SimBrief, but you can set it up that way. But it's pretty much, yeah, just hang out and you'll kind of see how we work everything. The glass cockpit. Again, it's much easier than using the analog instruments in the older planes because everything's right on screens. It's pretty intuitive, actually. Check the box.
Okay.
All right. Going through, continuing here. Glare shield, altimeter set to local. Be 1010. Flight director buttons on. ILS button as required. Don't need it right now. EFS mode. Speed mach is dashed. Heading dashed, and we got our cruise since we don't have. Well, we'll go to 10,000 initial. Yep, don't worry. Well, yeah, we're gonna be starting really soon. We're just waiting for the final passengers, and we're gonna get through this checklist, and then we'll be starting. And so, yep, show you how to do that. Altitude, we got our cleared altitude. Standby instrument is checked. Clock check. Anti-skid nose wheel steering right there is on. Audio control panel check. Weather radar off. Predictor wind shear off. Gain tilt set mode required. Don't really need to do that because the weather radar still doesn't work. Switching knobs, all four are in the normal position. They're in the normal position. ECAM status page check. Got normal. Pressure page checking for auto landing altitude. Where's my looking for? Pressure, there it is. D is auto. Want. Cockpit door, check and set. Down here, lock that door. Thrust levers idle. Master switches 1 and 2 and off. Engine mode selector normal. Fuel page. Checking the brake pressure. Gravity gear extension is stowed. ATC mode selector auto. System selector 1. Altitude reporting on. And Tara on standby. Squawk code. We go 1200. Airbus has two engines right there. Got two engines. We can even give you the kind of engine, I believe. If I can go. There we got two LEAP 1 Alpha 26 engines on this plane. Okay. Are you ready for the takeoff briefing?
Ready.
Okay, and we'll do the takeoff briefing and all that, where we talk about our procedures. I don't have that all nailed down how to do that, but we're going to take a look at our charts for us on our end. Look in here. If we're going to take off, we're going to go back to Niue. I might just direct out to Farah, since we're taking off. Doesn't make sense to really double back to the right, the VOR. We'll just take off direct to Farah. Get rid of this. That's about it for takeoff. We're gonna taxi out. We're gonna have to double back all the way to runway 28. And we'll make a left turn direct to Vistick will be our first waypoint, really. We'll actually put that in. Hey, Mika. Not much of a thing there. So, any questions?
No questions.
All right. Let's see. Doors are closed. Let's double check that page here. Doors closed. Passengers are all on board. We have the fuel on board. 11.7 FMS takeoff data. Cross check. Looks good. MCDU. Internal power check off and removed. These two fuel pumps should actually be on. Fuel pumps on. Internal power check off and removed. It should just automatically go, I think. Before start checklist. Down to the line.
Cockpit prep.
Completed.
Completed. Gear pins and covers.
Removed.
Signs.
On and auto.
ADAs.
Nav.
Fuel quantity.
11,700 kilograms.
Takeoff data.
Set.
Baro ref.
1010 set.
1010 set. Down to the line.
West star clearance.
Ground. New Zealand 6057 requesting pushback and start clearance. Okay, cleared to push and start. New Zealand 6057.
Ooh, it even got the our call sign in there. That was cool. Never heard that before. Airplane would have R. I'm not sure what R is. Sorry. Alright, windows and doors closed. Slides checked. Armed. ECAM door page check. Beacon light on. Thrust levers check idle. And parking brake is still on. We're not doing a pushback. So one more time. Below the line.
Windows and doors.
Closed.
Closed. Beacon.
On.
Thrust levers.
Idle.
Ladies and
Parking
gentlemen,
brake.
welcome on board
On.
our flight today.
Before
As you
start
locate your
checklist
assigned
complete.
seats, please place your smaller items under the seat in front of you
Alright,
to
so we're
provide
gonna
more
go
room for
ignition
larger items
and
in our overhead compartments.
starting engine 2.
If you need assistance,
Check.
contact the flight attendants. If you are unable to accommodate any item in the cabin, please bring it to the boarding door and we will check
Yep,
it
we
for
have
you.
reversers.
Also
right there.
review the safety instruction in your seat pocket. If you're seated at an exit seat, also review the exit seating criteria.
Tihei Modiora, welcome to our world. I am going to tell you the story of Chiaki. Chiaki connects us to care for our people, our place, and our culture. And it's also where the hero of our story gets his name. Tiaki knew that we don't inherit the earth from our ancestors. We only borrow it from our children. So to show us how important it is to care for our beautiful country, Tiaki set out to visit the guardians of this world.
Kia ora and welcome aboard this Air New Zealand flight. Just like Tiaki, Air New Zealand has made a promise to help care for our people, places and culture. So we'll be joining him.
Starting engine 1.
And helping to keep you safe on board this wakarererangi, canoe in the sky.
Tiaki also knew that caring for Aotearoa isn't something you can do alone.
I'm keen to come along.
All loose items should be stowed in the overhead locker or under the seat in front of you.
While we're on this epic journey, it's important you obey all crew member instructions, placards, and illuminated signs.
If a seatbelt sign
Alright,
lights up,
just a
return to
little
your
bit
seat,
behind
fasten
our,
your seatbelt.
Seatbelts fit
Well,
low and
tape
tight
be
across
taken
your
off about
hips.
3
Keep
o'clock,
them on
but
throughout the flight.
about a
If
little
you
bit
need to
longer to
up,
get
simply
started.
lift the lever like
Got
so.
distracted by FSOT ATC not working, so just a little bit behind schedule.
If an emergency were to happen during takeoff or landing, tighten your seatbelts and adopt the recommended brace position. Place your forehead on the seat in front, put your feet back and firmly on the floor, and hold your lower legs. In business premiere, sit upright, put your hands on your thighs and feet firmly on the floor.
Aim like a car? No. Airplanes are not the same as a car. Not like a car. Very much different. That's why pilots need so much training, because it is quite different than what you're used to. Alright, engine mode normal.
And if you need air, oxygen masks will fall from above. Place it over your nose and mouth and fit the headband.
Alright, so
Wherever
while we're
you
doing
are
that, you can
seated,
see
oxygen will
the
flow through
co-pilot
mask.
is kind of
Breathe
doing
normally. Make sure your own mask is fitted before
trims
assisting
and other
others.
stuff. Let's see. You need to go up top. CPU bleed, master switch off. The engine anti-ice, wing anti-ice, don't need it. We're gonna double check flaps and spoiler, he just did that.
Lakes and rivers.
Your life jacket is within easy reach. It's under your seat.
Have to start checklist.
They're easy to fasten sitting down.
Anti-ice.
Just
Off.
rip back the tag, place it over your head,
Ecam
put the
status.
straps together and tighten. Only pull
Check.
on the red tab to
Pitch
inflate after
trim.
you've exited the aircraft.
We've got life jackets for everyone, even infants.
0% set. 0.0% set.
Remember, Tiaki,
Rudder trim.
that it's important
0.
to only take what
After
you
start
need
checklist
and
complete.
to put your first catch back.
Flight control
is our
check.
Mother Earth.
Ready.
She's the sand and ice,
Full down.
the fields and
Full
mountains.
up.
She
Neutral.
is in the
Full
ground
left.
under our feet.
Full right. Neutral.
Rudder.
Nuku gives us natural steam.
Full
Smoking
left.
and vaping are not permitted
Full
anywhere
right.
on this flight,
Neutral.
including the lavatories. Charging e-cigarettes is also prohibited.
At night, Ranginui shows
Pull
us
down.
the way home. His stars guide us and connect us
Full
to
left.
those who came before us and
Full
those who
right.
will come after us.
If
Neutral.
we need to evacuate the aircraft, emergency escape path lighting will show you the way to the exit.
Alright.
Lightweight
Turn on
handheld
the weather
electronic
radar.
devices can be used at any time, but must be
both
switched
planes
to
have,
flight mode first.
2 pilots
and
now.
remember, cellular functions must remain off at all times.
Stow larger items in the overhead locker or in a bag underneath the seat in front. If you
Request
lose your device
taxi
from seat,
clearance.
please call your flight attendant
Ground.
for help.
Good
For more
afternoon.
information,
It's
have a
New
look at the
Zealand.
safety card in the seat pocket in front of you. Or ask
6057.
your flight
Ready to
attendant.
taxi.
Toitu te maraia tāne.
November Indian uniform echo traffic.
Cleared to
Mariah
taxi.
Doesn't
New Zealand.
6057 is taxiing to runway
6057.
Te tangata.
Thank you for travelling with Ararorangi Air New Zealand on this wakarererangi.
We
Alright.
invite all of you to join
What else gotta
Tiaki's
do
quest
here?
to care for the people, places and culture of Aotearoa.
Clear left side.
Tiaki is still out there,
Clear right
caring for our
side.
guardians,
Brake check.
showing us the way.
Pressure 0.
welcome, real.
Of course they are. They're just a bit more flash these days.
Cabin crew seats for takeoff. Yep, every commercial, well, I want to say, not say every commercial flight, but every like airline flight, basically anything. I don't know my different ones in the FAA for the US. Can't remember the different like there's Part 121 and the different standards and stuff, but. I don't know why he hasn't turned on my auto brake yet. I mean, you'll have some like business jets, like corporate jets, private jets that will only have one pilot, and then maybe that one pilot will, invite someone else to help him with. Listening. We'll invite CFI, flight instructor, someone who's got lower hours, and maybe come with them and run the radios and stuff. Because again, that's typically why you have two pilots. A little bit of redundancy if a pilot were to be incapacitated, for one, but also to help with the workflow, and that's why I'm using FS to crew, and it's supposed to lower the workflow. Still kind of learning it, and does require you to say things properly and hope that the AI is doing everything the way it's supposed to. Because AI can only do things as well as it's programmed and as well as commands are given to it. But it is kind of helpful with lights and all. Okay. I feel like I missed something. Yeah, he didn't do the auto brake. I don't know why. Started the elapsed time. Write something down here. Before takeoff checklist, down to the line.
Flight controls.
Checked.
Checked. Flight instruments.
Checked.
Checked. Briefing.
Complete. Confirmed.
Flat setting.
Config 1 plus F.
Config 1 plus F. V1, VR, V2, flex temp.
V1 138, V rotate 139, V2 143, 66 degrees set. I didn't say it perfectly right. 138, 139, 143, flexing 66 degrees.
V1 138 VR 139 V2 143 ATC.
Set.
ECAM memo.
Takeoff, no blue.
Down to the line.
Request takeoff clearance.
Tower, New Zealand 6057, ready for departure. Cleared for departure. New Zealand 6057.
November India Uniform Echo Traffic New Zealand 6057 taking off runway 28 south departure.
Alright, mode selector as required. Landing lights on. Strobe lights on. Nose light. Takeoff. You should have set that tar up.
Approach path clear of traffic.
Advise the cabin crew. Below the line.
Takeoff runway.
28 confirmed.
Cabin crew.
Advised.
TCAS.
TARA.
Engine mode selector.
Normal.
Packs.
On.
Before takeoff checklist complete.
Takeoff.
Check.
Alright, we're ready to go here.
Thrust set.
Oh, about 10 minutes late.
$100 knots. V1. Rotate. Positive climb. Pitch, pitch.
Gear up.
Gear up.
Taking off from beautiful Niue. Flap 0.
Speed checked. Flaps 0.
Autopilot 1 on. After takeoff, climb checklist.
Landing gear.
Up.
Flaps.
Tracted.
Packs.
On.
Down to the line.
Alright, we're climbing to 10,000 feet. A little bit later, we'll try to get FS HUD, ATC, see if it'll work. Maybe it just wasn't working. I wasn't getting any feedback from this airport because maybe there just isn't a tower or anything. Put in our cruise of 38,000 feet, flight level 380. First waypoint way out there, about 160 nautical miles. I want to say the hardest part of using FS to crew for this plane is going through the checklist and figuring out like, oh, where am I on my checklist or on my little flow thing that I got over here. It's a little comprehensive because sometimes it's like, okay, and then trusting that co-pilot's actually doing the things that they need to do. So we have a long flight today. A long start to this stream. Hopefully going to be about 3.5 hours flight. So I might do a little bit of time acceleration here and there. Okay, we're at 10,000 feet. What he's going to do, there go the landing lights. I can even tell him to do certain things here. Seatbelts off. No flip those off. Clear. Put on that page anyway. If I wanted to, I could have him clear the radio nav page, stuff like that. There's a lot of different things I can call out. Also, I can call out like the FMA calls, what the flight instruments tell me, heading, stuff like that. Flight mode enunciator call outs. That's standard.
Standard, cross-checked, passing flight level 1, 2, 4. Now.
Below the line.
Baro ref.
Standard set.
Standard set. After takeoff, climb checklist complete.
Alright. So now we're just kind of sit back. This will be a nice flight to be playing with self-loading cargo. I really want to use self-loading cargo again as a kind of a passenger simulation. It's really cool. Unfortunately, it does take some resources. But it is a frame rate hit, but it also has some issues with doors. It works fine if you're at a jetway airport. So at big European, Western American airports, you shouldn't have too many problems. It kind of doesn't work so well on this world tour where we're going to a lot of airports where we are doing the stairs. Then it doesn't like to play with the door very well. You can always bypass that and just have all the passengers come on at once. I'm kind of disappointed. I don't know what happened to the guy that's been working on it, or the creator of it, because he has basically for like the last 2 years he's been stuck on update 1.6, hasn't actually released it, which kind of sucks because there's some good stuff in that update. But oh well. Actually got some cloud cover. Clouds today. See what we can get for our current. I'll actually get the. I'm gonna want to get the terminal airport or terminal area forecast for our airports. Primarily our New Zealand airports. Oops. Switch the adheres here. Don't need to do that. I could show you how that works. We have done that before. Let's say we lose something on our adheres. Well, let's say we lose this IR1. So now you can see I'm missing something here. What we would do, I believe we would switch. Switch. Oh, there it is. You can see now we get it back, right? If I lost it, or if I lost, well, this is the middle one. This is for both, I believe. IR2 is the first officer, so if he loses, let's say he loses a deer or two. Now he's missing something over there. See that? So you'd go is, I think, air data. So here we got two things switched because we got some issues. Typically, if you have that many things going on, I think that you'd probably be wrapping the flight, but we'll keep it like that. It's kind of cool. we're missing two things on the overhead
Ladies
panel.
and gentlemen, in just a few moments, we'll begin our meal service for the flight. Please refer to the menu given to you on boarding for the 2 meal choices and the beverage
How to
choices
see the road?
available. We request that you keep the aisles clear to assist the flight attendants to serve you efficiently and also for your own safety. Thank you.
I'm not sure. What do you mean the road? Like the runway? Well, once we're coming in, you'll be able to see. Like right now, not much to see as we're flying over the Pacific Ocean, the South Pacific, making our way to New Zealand. So no real roads to look at. Typically, you can see roads out the plane. Obviously, in a Airbus A320 or a jet, you're typically not flying. You're not flying VFR, flying IFR instrument. So basically, you're doing most of your flying with the instruments. Obviously, you can look out and you can see things. You do have visual approaches. When you're in the smaller planes, when you're in a Cessna or a Sirius or Cherokee, all those little small planes, the ones that you usually use for training and flight instructing, those you actually are using ground landmarks. You're usually not flying much higher than 10,000 feet, typically. And so then you're looking at roads and trees and barns and stuff as your reference points, things. But how to see the road? Typically, you just look outside the window. Yeah, New Zealand is beautiful. I've only done one flight there, I think, here in Flight Simulator right after it got updated. So yeah, it's beautiful. It was beautiful even in X-Plane because that was the first. That's how I started this whole world tour. I started it, I believe, in Christchurch. Maybe not Christchurch, but what's the Queenstown, maybe somewhere. I started it. I think it was Christchurch actually. I flew Christchurch to Auckland. Was my first world tour flight. I think it was that. And that was back in X-Plane because I found a pack of satellite imagery for New Zealand. Really good satellite imagery for New Zealand. Now, X-Plane did not come with streaming satellite imagery. I think X-Plane 12 just announced they're going to have streaming satellite imagery. I don't know who they've partnered with for that, but they've said that they're going to. I saw it. I don't know. I didn't look into it. Yep, Mika Hund, Ortho 4XP. Now, you can do it yourself, but people would also make packs and they would edit it and make it really nice. So sometimes I would download packs. Oftentimes, where I couldn't find packs where people had already downloaded it and set it up and have cleaned up certain areas, I would then use Ortho 4XP myself and cover areas where we were flying on the world tour. Like China, I did a whole bunch of China because flying there. But New Zealand was a whole pack. I believe Australia had a whole pack, so it was really fun flying over Australia. The middle of Australia is just amazing. I don't think we're going to see it. I wanted to fly over the middle, and I might add in a flight here. Maybe I'll add in a flight so that we can fly out to like Alice Springs or something, because I think the flights I'm flying from Sydney to Perth, but I think that will take us too far south. We won't get to go across where Australia is nice and almost looks like Mars. And then our flight back from Perth to Brisbane, also the same thing. I think we'll kind of skirt too far south. So on my world tour in X-Plane, I flew out to Alice Springs, which took us right to the middle of the country where you got to see that. I think the United States, I had a ton of coverage. That was other people had developed, so it was really cool. But I think X-Plane 12, they're back. I think they've announced that they're doing streaming. Basically, Microsoft Flight Simulator they push that game forward. Yep, exactly, Mika. That's as soon as Flight Simulator, I remember that was, I'd gotten X-Plane 2018, I think, and was really into it. And Microsoft Flight Simulator was announced. I'm like, well, I already got X-Plane. It's really good. And then I saw the visuals for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I saw that. It's like, oh, you're gonna stream this, and even the photogrammetry stuff, where the building models, even the autogen building models are better, more regional and everything. So it was really like, oh yeah, I've got to go to Flight Simulator. But when I first got into Flight Simulator, and we only had the Airbus A320, basically, we didn't have FlyByWire and all that yet. It was kind of like, there were times I really wanted to go back the X-Plane. I remember early on people were saying, hey, if you want to fly the airliners, maybe you should just go back to X-Plane for now, fly the airliners you have. But we've gotten to a point where Flight Simulator has caught up. It's kind of come into its own. Planes are dropping every day, so I mean, almost any plane you want now, it seems like there is one available for some money. I have not tried X-Plane 12. I don't know if is there like a free trial or anything. I mean, it doesn't, I mean, graphically it's not, there are some things graphically, and I think there are some things that are just always going to be better with X-Plane. I even feel like the airports were better. Falani, driving an airplane, is it hard or is it easy? It is... Well, I did a discovery flight on a couple weeks ago. Now it's already been 2 weeks. It's only been 2 weeks. It felt like it's been way longer, but it's been about 2 weeks since I did a discovery flight with the flight school, and it was, in some ways, it felt easier to fly a real life plane than it was to fly a plane here in the sim. Now I say that, not that it is easier, because there is obviously more pressure. You know, you can run into stuff. You can die, right? But my flight instructor even asked me, it's like, oh, you seem to be pretty, you know, how many hours have you spent in, flying a flight simulator? I'm like, probably a couple thousand, right? He's like, yeah, because you got really smooth things. And I said, it's like, yeah, because there's the pressure, right? Like when you move the yoke in a real life plane, especially a smaller plane, you get that feedback. You're actually pushing against the air, make the movements, as opposed to here in simulator, I can just move my stick any which way, and it doesn't realistically always, not so realistic, the movements, especially when you're in the smaller planes. I feel like I even said when I was in that, we were flying, I forget what it was, I think it's a Piper Archer or something, I think it was what we were flying. That felt like flying like a A320 or a 787 here in the flight simulator, where it's very sluggish, right? Because you had that feel, you're pushing, like where you fly this, where I move the stick and it takes a while for it to move. It doesn't just turn and flip over like if I'm flying the Cessna here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I move the stick and it just, the plane, you can do a spin. It's a little bit harder to do that because you got the actual air forces acting on it a little bit more. So, I think a lot of people, I've heard, like one of the podcasts I listened to, a couple of corporate pilots, they're always talking about how, you know, a lot of people ask this question. It's like, oh, it must be very, 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 very difficult to be a pilot. It's hard, and it's also not that hard. I mean, especially, and it's getting easier and easier. Like, you know, a lot of the flying tests are getting more and more simplified with, you know, having these glass cockpits. I mean, right now, I'm not doing anything. Now, you do need to monitor the radios. You do need to put the correct stuff in the computers. But so much of it's automated in these bigger planes. Now, when you're in a smaller plane, it's a little less automated, but it's still far easier with GPS and all that than it ever has been. The big thing is knowing, you know, when things go wrong. When things go wrong, or making sure that you have the plane set up and you're doing things so something doesn't break and go wrong. There's a lot of studying involved, a lot of information. Right now, I'm studying for the private pilot's license. There's just so much you need to know about weather and clouds and all the different rules and regulations. How to communicate over the radios, how to read charts and sectional stuff. I think it's like it. I want to say it's like anything. Driving a car, I feel. Driving a car, we treat it so flippantly. Like, really, anyone can get a license. You don't need much training. You have to take a little written test, and you take a road test, and basically, I mean, as long as you don't crash into anything, you get a driver's license. Which I think makes driving really the most dangerous of all the ways we transport in reality, because you have a bunch of people flying around in big 2-ton, 3-ton vehicles, some of whom are not very adept at driving, doing the physical, actual driving, on some sides, and some people have just a lack of knowledge about, how to drive and how to read signs and all that stuff. But then you also have, then you have the distraction, people on their phones, people driving recklessly, all that. I'm currently a truck driver. Now, there's a little bit more training for truck driving. A lot of it is because there is the backing. We have that trailer, so that's an extra thing that's a little bit different than driving a car. But for me now, it's second nature. I've been doing it for 3, going on 4 years, and I feel more comfortable in my semi-truck than I do driving a car, because I have the muscle memory for driving the semi-truck, and now when I get in a car, I'm a little shaky. It's because the car is a lot more responsive. But we do need, but once you get into trucking, you need to know more about the regulations, because there's more rules. We're held to a higher standard of driving and following rules and all that stuff. And then you get to being a pilot. Well, being a pilot is very difficult because you need to learn a whole new thing, right? Going from driving a car to driving, a 40-ton semi-truck. A lot of it's, there is a lot of crossover, a lot of the same things, because you're still driving. You're just driving a way bigger vehicle and a longer vehicle, and with a trailer and that stuff. But being a pilot, you're operating in 3 dimensions. You're in the air. You need to know more about how to, if you have an issue with the plane, engine, you lose an engine, or there's icing, or whatever it is, preventing and dealing with those problems so that you can get back on the ground safely, because you're in the air. If something goes wrong, you're going to fall out of the air. Versus if something goes wrong with your car, typically you just pull over the side of the road, right? You have an overheating issue, you lose electrical or whatever. I mean, unless you lose your brakes or you have a massive tire blowout and causes you to go out of control, typically you can fix, mechanical, issues, little issues with your car by just pulling over the side of the road or limping it home or to a shop. Whereas in a plane, you're kind of on your own. You need to get it fixed so you can get down on the ground. You need to know how to do all that stuff. But I think there's in a lot of ways it is the safest form of communication, of transportation, because there is so many rules and regulations. You have air traffic control, which separates planes. There's not as many planes flying in the air as cars on the road. But again, it's a very different environment. You need to be paying attention the whole time. Versus a car, I mean, in reality, we should be 100% focused when we're driving a car, but we typically aren't. And we seem to get away with it more. In an airplane, you need to be 100% focused. You can actually get away with looking down at some screens because you are in the air and separated from people so much. But yeah, it's definitely a way more challenging. That's why pilots get paid a lot more, or are starting to get paid a lot more now. They have, but especially on the lower rungs in the regional airlines and stuff, they're starting to pick up some good pay, because it's a very lengthy process to get into, very costly career to get into, and there definitely is a lot of, it's not just flipping burgers, pressure-wise. Airplanes use, depends on the plane.
1,000 to go.
But typically use aviation fuel. Now there are some different kinds. I want to say the fuel that typically is used, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but the fuel used in like smaller planes, like like a Cherokee or a Cessna, those kind of things, they're typically using a fuel that's kind of blue, has a bluish tint to it, and then the jets use jet fuel. I think, I'm not gonna say, but I think, but jet fuel tends to be clear. The smaller plane fuel tends to have a little bit of a blue tint. That way you can tell the difference, because you don't want to mix different fuels. Different planes need different kind of fuels. But I couldn't tell you. I can't tell you exactly not diesel. It's not oil. It's not. I mean, they do have oil. There is oil. And then there is aviation fuel, specific kind of aviation fuel for each plane. Each plane, it's like, okay, you need to use this kind of fuel. Yeah, you can't just fill it up with fuel for your car. Which is the same thing to be said for a semi truck. Semi truck uses diesel. Diesel fuel does not use. You can't just put unleaded whatever in, and vice versa. All right, let's see. To look and see what we got for the satellite imagery for X. Oh wow, auto ortho for X-Plane 11. Now this is from a year ago. And maybe it's not something built in. Maybe it's something that someone came up with where it will. Yeah, the big thing with X-Plane, is that you can make it. I mean, I'm just looking at a Reddit forum right now, guys talking about making X-Plane look as good, if not better in some cases, than Microsoft Flight Simulator. It just requires you to either, it requires a lot of work to do that. A lot of different programs. I mean, download tree, a lot of money too. You can spend a ton of money on scenery and stuff. Just like you can on Flight Simulator also. Let's look at the terminal area forecast for New Zealand. Okay, this came out at 1100 Zulu. That would have been probably 3 years old at this point. Yeah. Oh no, 2 years old, or 2 hours old. This is from 2 hours ago. It's valid, but it is valid from the 24th, 12 o'clock Zulu time. Going starting an hour ago until 6 p.m. on the 25th. So it's what is that? 36 hour forecast. We got right here, right now, currently. Alright, it should be winds about 160 at 5 knots. That might... Yeah, probably going to change our... We're going to have to reevaluate our landing direction. Unlimited visibility, scattered clouds at 4,500 feet, becoming... This is going to be a lot later. This is at a 2,300 zoom time. So, basically we just want to see this one. You can also check the MEDAR. Grab a MEDAR, which will be out of by the time we get there. Wow. They use earphones because it's loud. You have all the sound. Like right now, you can kind of hear the sound in the background. That's what it sounds like, except even louder. And depending on the plane, now there are like, I think the new 787-10 Dreamliners are actually pretty quiet in the cockpit, actually. But you still want to have the headphones. It allows you to, now I don't know if they wear their headsets the entire time. There is the option to have it, like the radio go through your headset or go through over a speaker. So depending on, but typically they have the headset on because it's noise canceling. That way they can hear each other talk, communicate to each other. They can hear the radio calls without having all the engine noise and everything else going on. And then when you're in a smaller plane with a propeller, it's even more so that you need that because it is a lot of noise with the wind and the propeller going. Alright, let's look at the MEDAR here. So this is from 12:30, so this is half an hour, 41 minutes old. We got winds 180 at 8 knots, unlimited visibility, broken clouds at 7,000 feet, 13 degrees, 11 degree, 2.1017 for our QNH. The VATSIM use only. I guess it's pulling it from VATSIM. I've never seen it say VATSIM use only, this part. I don't know what's going on. If it's coming from 180, we're probably going to need to flip our runway here. Of course, we're still about 3 hours out, so rush on. The 180. You want to fly into the wind on landing as much as you can. Pull up a visual for you. Alright, so here is medar-taft.com. Lighter. Goes full here. You can see here's the wind coming 180. So it's coming from the south, going north. And we have one runway in Auckland. Runway 5 and 23. Now right now, we're planned for runway 5. The problem with runway 5, it's kind of almost a horse apiece at this point. Because we're gonna have a crosswind either way. It's only 6 knots, but we're gonna have a crosswind. 23, we do have a little bit of a headwind though, because it's coming closer towards 23 than towards 5. Now at this point, it really doesn't matter a ton. We're, you know, with this little bit of tailwind, the little bit of tailwind we're getting is almost negligible. If let's say we were having the wind was coming from, you know, 210, right, coming more this direction, then we want to go runway 23 because we'd have more of a headwind then. And you want a headwind, you want to be flying into the headwind because that will slow you down. If you have the wind on your tail, it's going to push you faster, which is good if you're in cruise or, you know, you're flying. You want a tailwind because then you get wherever you're going faster. But when you're landing, you want that headwind turn into the wind. So if the wind kind of comes over here to 120 or from the east or from 60 degrees, that'd be better for our runway 5. And then of course over here, basically this side of the compass at this point would be better for 23, you know, for runway 23. this side's gonna be better for runway 5. Ideally, we'd like the wind to be about, kind of weird here because this is, it says it's runway 5, but it's not even pointed at 50 degrees. I don't know what's going on there with the, kind of weird. But ideally we want the wind over here coming runway 5, and ideally we'd want the wind coming this way. I don't know why runway 5 is pointed at that orientation. I mean, kind of weird. The compass is off, it seems. This 5 should be pointing right there at 50 degrees. Anyway. But yeah, we gotta. So yeah, if you're ever looking for MEDAR data, that's a good one. MEDAR-TAF.com. Kind of visualizes exactly what we read on right there. You got that 180, 8 knots. Looks like they just got an updated one. I don't know why. There actually is one from 1 o'clock. Let's see if we can get that one. Get an updated MEDAR. Of course, the weather and everything that I'm flying with is real-time weather, or it's a little bit delayed, but it's more closer to real-time weather. Obviously, the time is not real-time because I've set it so that we'd be taking off at 3 in the afternoon. In reality, I think it's 1 in the morning or something. Another MEDAR, taking a while. Might do here is I might toss on double the sim speed so we can get there a little faster. This is a long flight and not a lot to see or do. Alright. Yeah, it hasn't changed. We're still getting half an hour, or now it's about 45 minutes old, 47 minute old MEDAR data. But the one on MEDAR-TAF we got at 1 o'clock local time, 1 o'clock Zulu time, or 1300 Zulu time. Like I think New Zealand is exactly 12 hours ahead or behind. I think ahead of the Universal time. So it is coming up on you can see right above on the little screen up there the ETE, because our distance is 1,110 nautical miles, 2 hours and 50 minutes to go. So I'll probably turn on a sim rate, bump the sim rate up to 2 times, which is as much as this plane allows, because it's so complicated, I guess. I don't think I've ever used sim rate acceleration on my world tour. I kind of don't want to start now, but at the same time it does make it easier to do these longer flights. But we'll see. Be nice if we had more viewers, right? Then it would be then it would fly. Time would fly if you had a lot of people in chat. Fortunately, not too many.
Sim rate 1.
I'm trying to turn on, I'm gonna bump the sim rate up to 2 times, which will cut our time in half for the flight. Make it about an hour and a half, I think. Be nice. Just doubles the sim time, so it'll still take, you know, the sun will still move and all that stuff. It'll just, everything will be going 2 times speed, which when you're at cruise, I know some people don't think it's unrealistic to do that. I've seen other people say it's actually more realistic because, at least simulator-wise, you're allowed, you can do more flights, do longer flights, put more fuel on board, and deal with those kind of things, as opposed to doing either always doing very short flights, or doing a 12-hour flight, but you're doing laundry and not at the controls anyway, so it's not realistic if you're doing a 12-hour flight and then you're sleeping the whole flight. So, trying to turn on. I can figure out how to do it. I always forget. Get a sim rate.
Sim rate 2.
Okay, you can see we're going a little faster now. We're moving a little faster. The only unfortunate thing is that it doesn't, if you're using any tracking programs, like I'm using like 3 or 4 tracking programs right now, it doesn't, it will only go based on the time you were flying sim-wise, based on the sim time. It won't go by real time. That's why I wrote down we took off at 13:10, or no, 15:10, which is 3:10 in the afternoon. Then I'll have the landing, then I can figure out my own how long our flight was. Let's see. So you got a passenger on your airplane. Yeah, we have. I don't know why auto throttle turned off. Weird. Want to make sure everything's working properly. We're moving a little bit faster. It's hard to tell, but we are moving twice as fast. Well, there's the passengers. 159 passengers today. Now, there are some cool programs that you can use in addition, like if your plane doesn't have this. I bought these back in X-Plane, self-loading cargo and PackX. PackX is a little bit tighter program. Kind of, it usually works once you get it set up. It usually just works for the most part. It's very lightweight, in a sense. It's really cool because you can see all the passengers' names, and the names are localized. So if you're flying in Asia, you're going to have a lot more Asian names. If you're flying in the Middle East, you're going to have more Middle Eastern names. If you're flying in Germany, you're going to have more German names, right? I like self-loading cargo though, because self-loading cargo it's almost like a game within a game. You can have it sitting there. You can be watching passengers move around the cabin. You can click on a passenger and they'll say, they'll be talking and text talking, saying like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. I wish they would turn the seatbelt sign off, or oh, I'm hungry, or oh, I'm feeling kind of drunk, and you can automate you can tell the flight attendants when to deliver alcoholic beverages, or just the meal service or whatever. So it's a little. I remember getting that for X-Plane because I'd be on these flights and there's nothing really to do in the middle, and so it's kind of cool to kind of interact with the passengers a little bit. I have to get them worked out again. I haven't used PackX in a while. Self-loading cargo again has some issues, but it's actually pretty cool too. Not sure how either of those work when you're doing time acceleration, which is what we're doing now. You can see the time is going to really rapidly start descending on that estimated time of arrival. So it says 2:43. Don't plan on 2:43 because it'll actually probably be 2:43 is only going to take half that time, about an hour and a half, which is good because I need to be done with these kind of. I can't fly too late into the morning because the wife and baby get up and gotta eat breakfast and go do things. The worst part is that usually the busiest time of the morning is right when I'm trying to land and do all that. Alright, I'm gonna give you guys a You have control.
I have control.
Auckland Centre, New Zealand, 6057, in type Airbus A20N, flight level tree 80. Request flight following. New Zealand, 6057, Auckland Centre. Squawk 6512. Squawk 6512, New Zealand, 6057. New Zealand, 6057, radar contact, flight level tree 80. Roger, New Zealand, 6057.
Sim rate 1. 057.
Alright, there you go on exterior mode. Our exterior view. Leedy, welcome in. Yeah, I kind of getting some other stuff done. Doing a little bit of laundry. Had to do a little Photoshop editing. If I can get it here. I'll tell you what I was doing, because we got to get passport photos and stuff for everyone. And so you know how to edit the photos down. If I can get a away. I did. Not the best way to do it, is it? There I was doing Photoshop using this picture of our son. And I'd have to, of course, get it, you know, nice background and everything. So that's what we got it at. Make, probably work on this one a little bit later. Maybe use this one better. Run over to this Photoshop, print it off, all that stuff, all that good stuff.
New Zealand 6057. Expect XL 7 Delta. Arrival RNAV X-ray. Approach runway 05 right. Report when ready for descent.
RNAV X-ray. That. We get everything. Double check. Cards. Have an X-ray, add to route. Yeah, even better.
New Zealand 6057. Expect XL 7 Delta. Arrival RNAV X-ray. Approach runway 05 right. Report when ready for descent.
Expect XL 7 Delta. Arrival RNAV X-ray. Approach runway 05 right. Report when ready for descent. New Zealand 6057.
RNAV 25 X-ray. The only thing I should have done there before saying I was ready for that is I double checked the current wind. Double check that. It's kind of like a crosswind, so it might not. Yeah, it's still coming from 180. So it'd be better to come runway 23 slightly, but runway 5 will be fine. Because that's what they have for us. Ooh. XOP 7 Delta. Ovia. Okay. Okay, so XOP Dipu. He'll just double check it against the charts. Virus. Ina. Expecting. Oh. There we go. Okay, little shadows. Isn't matching up with anything here. Go to plan page, just double check, make sure everything's working.
New Zealand 6057, ready for descent.
New Zealand 6057. Maintain flight level 380.
Maintain flight level 380. New Zealand 6057.
Oh, okay, there we go. Saddles, Quinas, Hipaz, Lana. Why on the Oh, there it is. Not able. I think the Satos is distracting me here. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I don't know why when I was looking, I was literally looking at the chart, looking at it, and it was not matching up at all, and maybe my brain was just not engaging on that. All right, so we'll take a little check here now. That looks good on the plan. See, the top of descent is right there in about 28 nautical miles. A quick look at the charts, then we'll do a little bit more of this once we start descending. There's our chart. Out here, just past Octub. We're gonna come in and kill. We're gonna turn in, hit Virus, be on our approach for the RNAV.
6057, descend and maintain, flight level 290.
Descend and maintain flight level 290, New Zealand 6057.
Set flight level 290. Manage descent. Seatbelts on. Right there, I just had the first officer do everything by voice. Just want to make sure it would work. Alright, so here's our flight plan. We're going to look here. RNAV, November Zulu Alpha Alpha, Auckland International. Final approach course is going to be 51 degrees. Lamel is going to be our reference point. Right there, our fixed approach point, I believe is what it is. Our decision altitude is going to be 350, airport elevation 23, runway 15 feet. Missed approach, we're going to go max 185 knots, track 51 degrees to MRAG, mandatory 3000 at that point. See that MRAG right there, go into a hold. Down, got the visual here, what it looks like. I was originally planning a little bit further out for that ILS, but we can do this one. Been doing a bunch of RNAVs lately. A little concerning doing the RNAV here in the dark, but could be just fine. Right here we got the elevations we're going to need to be at. Virus, max 210. That's where we're going to be getting into our transitioning into the approach. 6,000 feet, max 210 knots. And then we're just going to start our descent, about 3-degree glide. Down to 4810 at Satos, Queen at 3950, Nipa is at 2880. Lamel is our fix right here, max 170 and 1400 feet. Turn into a Baki, we want to be at 820 at that point, and then we'll hit our minimums the runway. Again, another different way to see our go around. Mandatory 3000 on course 51 to MRAD. And our decision altitude is going to be 350, height 335 above ground level. Runway is 15 feet, so the MSL above sea level is going to be 350. In. That right now. Get our weather again. The performance page. In transition level or altitude is 13,000. Level is 15,000. Flight level 150. Minimum 350 for the approach. Menu. Find that message. First officer still has controls right now, so we're going to get that in and then I'll take over. Got 3 hours, 20 minutes so far on the lock time. Say about, probably be down on the ground in the next 20.
New Zealand 6057, descend and maintain, flight level 200.
Descend and maintain. Flight level 200. New Zealand 6057.
Alright, we got 180 at 5 knots. This is from about 21 minutes ago, so very current. 12 degrees, 10 degree dew point. Again, this is middle of the night temperatures, because in reality it's 2:51 in the morning. 1018. Got that printing off down here. Can barely see it. Lights. There we go. See the performance page. NH1018. Temperature 12 degrees Celsius. And the wind 185. See the lights of New Zealand coming up, so we know we're right path. Green seems to keep getting brighter and brighter. Now we're going to be landing. Sim time will be about 7 o'clock, I would guess. About 7 o'clock. 7 in the evening. New Zealand is exactly 12 hours ahead. Now, in reality, it's going to be real life time about probably in the next half hour.
Expect to be in uniform November Bravo India Alpha Romeo Alpha Delta 4 Echo Driver Arna uniform approach runway 23 left. Report when ready for descent. 7523 heavy. Qantas 7523 heavy ready for descent.
Qantas 7523 heavy, descend and maintain, flight level 150, cleared Lundy Arad 4 Echo, arrival.
Descend and maintain. Flight level 150, cleared Lundy Arad 4 Echo, arrival. Qantas 7523 heavy.
Alright, let's make sure we got everything set. MCDU. Arrival page. Arrival pages. Flight plan page A, complete. Performance, descent page, perfect. Approach page completed, check. Go around page. Radio nav page is going to be a big one. They already set this? That's really cool if they do. There's that's the ILS frequency and everything. Well, I think this gets set because I'm on the RNAV, so it pulls in the VOR and the ILS. I'm looking at that, it looks what's Whiskey Papa? Actually, Auckland is no idea what Whiskey Papa is. VOR that they have in there. Put in 14.8.
New Zealand
For the Auckland VOR.
057, descend and maintain 12,400 QN8 1017.
Descend and maintain 12,400, New Zealand 6057.
Qantas 7523, heavy, descend and maintain 6,000 QN8 1017.
Flight controls.
Descend and maintain 6,000.
I have control.
You have control.
We have our constraints on right there. Right here, Dipu, we need to be above 8,000 feet, 280 knots, and kill, we need to be at 240. So we got, and kill, we're going to want to be around, probably getting under 10,000 feet there, because Virus will be 6,000. So in here is going to be that descent from where we are now to below 10,000. We're on the green dot. The problem is that we tend to have an issue right in this area, so it'd actually be better if we were below a little bit. Okay,
Cabin crew, prepare for arrival.
Go in here and do a calculation for our landing. Pull data from the OFP.
Zealand 6057, cleared XL 7 Delta, arrival QN8 1017.
Cleared XL 7 Delta, arrival New Zealand 6057.
Qantas 7523, heavy, proceed direct Victor Alpha Bravo Tango India QN8 1017.
Proceed direct Victor Alpha Bravo Tango India, Qantas 7523, heavy.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of calculators here, looking at the different things. Lead low. Here it's saying we're going to go further than my other calculator, so probably going to go with medium auto brake. Always safe one to go with. Usually don't have any issues with that. Go medium auto brake. Anti-ice. We'll do some anti-ice because there's some scattered. Actually, double check. Oh, no clouds. Okay, don't need anti-ice. We're at 15. Crossing flight level 150, which is our transition level. From now on, we'll call everything out as thousands. 10,000, 9,000. At 10,000 feet, the first officer will hit the landing lights. He'll hit terrain on his screen, and also get the pack signs. We already have the pack signs on since we're descending. And I'll look again if we need anti-ice. EFAS will put the constraint on, which we have, and we'll get that LS on once we get 10,000. I might be wrong. Maybe we're supposed to switch the barometric reference at the flight level.
1,000 to go.
New Zealand 6057, descend and maintain 12,400 QN8 1017.
Descend and maintain 12,400, New Zealand 6057.
Zealand 6057, descend and maintain 4,800.
Descend and maintain 4,800. New Zealand 6057.
At altitude 4,800. Manage descent. There again. There again we see that kind of that's oh hello. Wasn't looking out my screen for a while there. Welcome to Auckland. Beautiful. I don't do a lot of night flights terribly much, so it's always cool. It's cool to see the lights.
Runway 23 left. Report established final track.
Clear Donna, uniform approach at 6,000. Runway 23 left. Report established final track. Qantas 7523 heavy. Qantas 7523 heavy.
UNH 1017 set.
Qantas 7523 heavy.
1017 set. Passing 10,700.
Contact tower 118.7. Qantas 7523
Now.
heavy.
There went the landing lights.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be arriving at our destination shortly. If you're making a connecting flight, please see the customer service agent meeting this flight or the video monitors inside the terminal for connecting gate information. For your continued safety, flight attendants will now walk through the cabin to secure it for landing.
Proceed direct.
We'll collect
New
any
Zealand
off-service items,
6057.
newspapers and any other items that you wish to discard or may not be taking off the aircraft.
Auto brakes set medium.
Also, in preparation for landing,
Local barometric
please turn
reference
off all
minimum
electronic
set
devices,
as
though these
required.
devices within all other carry-on items.
For 20 miles out, we will hit that approach
overhead
phase.
bins, as items may have shifted during our flight. Please stow your tray tables and return your seats to their upright position and check the security of your seatbelt. We'll be landing shortly. Thank you.
Approach checklist.
Briefing.
Confirmed.
ECAM status.
Checked.
Seatbelts.
On.
Baro ref.
1017 set.
1017 set. Minimum.
350 set. Set and checked.
Engine mode selector.
Normal.
Approach checklist complete.
New Zealand 6057, cleared on X-ray, approach at 4,800, runway 05 right, report established final track.
Cleared INAV X-ray approach at 4,800. Runway 05 right. Report established final track. New Zealand 6057.
Hey, X-Class Kiwi, welcome in. Yeah, Mika, probably be butter. I don't know, last few flights I've done in the A320, I've been about 150 feet per minute landing. Been pretty good. Problem I'm having lately is we don't have. Oh, there. Yeah, see, I can't get the boilers work. Makes it very hard to get slowed down. We're hanging at. We need to be pretty high. So again, we're gonna have this high approach. Can't get our speed down. So I need to remember that next time I do the A320, we need to just be ahead of the game. We need to get down don't do the managed descent because every time we do it, we're behind because we can't. Like right here, we should be at 4810. We're about 2,000 feet high now. Flaps 1.
Are you sure about that?
I have to call it out to him, otherwise he would look at flaps 1. Flaps 1.
Speed checked.
There we go.
Flaps 1.
Flaps 2.
Check speed. $1,000 to go.
Flaps 2.
Speed checked. Flaps 2.
Really weird. It wasn't like the flaps 1 wasn't
Checked.
just looking at this down here. Maybe I've never looked very closely before. It was kind of weird.
Checked.
We're gonna do an extended downwind again. I've been having a lot of problems getting
Checked.
descended. Why is this plane insisting on flying so slow? Get down to 1400 and kind of putzing. I don't know why. So I don't know what happened, but lately the A20N has been kind of a floppy. Doing all right. Did a discovery flight for ATP flight school. That was fun. A couple weeks ago. Otherwise, been busy. I've only probably done like 2 or 3 streams since, this month. Kinda. You're having a really hard time getting ascended here. I need to remember next time we do the A320, we need to manually do a vertical speed down from cruise so we get to 10,000, because you get down to 10,000 a lot earlier, have more time. Because we always seem to be trying to cut speed, but we're too high all the time. So the managed descent has been a little off, I'm finding.
2,000.
Now we should be-
1,000 to go.
Now we should be fine on our altitude once we get to Lamel.
Bank. Sync rate.
Probably extended it a little bit further than I needed to.
1,000.
I'd rather be able to get stabilized and set here.
New Zealand 6057 established on final track.
New Zealand 6057, contact Auckland Tower 118.7.
Contact Auckland Tower 118.7. New Zealand 6057. Auckland Tower, New Zealand 6057 on
Is the
final
runway?
0 at 5 right. New Zealand 6057, continue approach.
Well, winds right here look right for landing. See how it spins around and all over the place. Coming from 180 supposedly, which isn't the best for this runway, but it's going to be a crosswind either way. Gear down. He's gonna flop that ground spoiler. Arm the ground spoilers. Ground spoilers, confirmed auto brake set,
Gear down.
gear down, all that good stuff.
Qantas 7523 heavy, vacate right with Alpha, wind vacated, contact ground 121.9. Vacate right with Alpha, wind vacated, contact ground 121.9 at Qantas 7523 heavy.
Flaps 3.
Speed checked. Flaps 3.
Flaps full.
Speed checked. Flaps full.
Landing checklist.
Cabin crew.
Advised.
Auto thrust.
Speed.
Checked.
Set and checked.
Auto brake.
Medium.
ECAM memo.
Landing, no blue.
Landing checklist complete.
Not descending. Not descending again. Once in a while you get on these, doesn't want to go.
Sync rate.
$1,000.
057, wind 180 degrees at 6 knots, cleared to land, 05 right. Cleared to land, 05 right, New Zealand 6057.
$500. $100 above. 400.
Sync rate.
Minimum 300.
Sync rate.
200. $100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 10. 5.
New Zealand 6057, wind vacated, contact ground
Spoilers. No reverse, engine
121.9.
1 and 2. Decel.
Wind vacated, contact ground 121.9. New Zealand 6057.
70 knots.
Yeah, I was a little sloppy there coming in. Sometimes the autopilot just doesn't want to cooperate.
Auckland ground, New Zealand 6057, runway vacated with Alpha. New Zealand 6057, taxi to gate 8 by Alpha, Bravo. Taxi to gate 8 by Alpha, Bravo, New Zealand 6057. New Zealand 6057, contact Auckland Tower 118.7. Contact Auckland Tower 118.7, New Zealand
Ladies and gentlemen,
6057.
this is the conclusion of our flight. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captain has turned off the seatbelt sign and the aircraft is parked safely. This will be your indication that it is safe to move around the cabin, gather your belongings and disembark. We'd like to thank you for flying with us today. We appreciate your business and we hope to see you once again on a future flight. Thank you.
After landing checklist.
Flaps.
Retracted.
Spoilers.
Disarmed.
Auckland ground,
APU.
New Zealand 6057, runway vacated with Alpha.
Radar.
Off.
New Zealand 6057,
Predictive wind shear
continue taxi
system.
by Alpha. Continue taxi by Alpha, New Zealand 6057.
Off.
After landing checklist complete.
Alright, taxiing via Alpha. And on cue, of course. The boy is now in crazy mode and we get to the gate quick and have to finish things up. Going over the international terminal, gate 8. Having an empty airport feels like. Really? Figured out you went the wrong way? Going along here, there should be actually a taxiway. I'm not sure why it's not showing up. It's over there. Right over here. Perfect. Hey, trust to follow me. Knows where he's going. Like, stop. Stop. Taxi light off. Engine 1 and 2 off. Seatbelt sign. The engine's coming down.
Deboarding requested.
Parking checklist.
APU bleed.
On.
Engines.
Off.
Seatbelts.
Off.
Exterior lights.
Nav and logo. Nav logo on.
Fuel pumps.
Off.
Are you sure about that? Parking brake and chocks.
Oh.
Passengers deboarding starting.
Parking checklist complete.
Alright, doesn't look like the jetway is working, unfortunately, for DSX. Typical. We are here in Auckland, a little bit of a empty airport here in the evening, but it is real time. It's about 3 in the morning. Let's take a look at Volanta, and we're gonna get this to be finished. There's our flight. It's a little confusing because it crosses the border of the map. That's why it's got that weird line. Landing rate, a little bit firmer. A little bit firmer than it's been before, negative 279, but basically anything under 300 is where you want to be in reality with an airliner. And we'll put that away and pull up World Tour map. Reveal one more country we have arrived at. I need to fix some of my switches and stuff I got on shortcuts. Well, hey, everywhere we've flown to so far on the World Tour, and today we get to reveal Zealand down there. Alright, next flight we're going to be flying back out to New Caledonia. I believe it's going to be right here, Islands. So that'll be on Air Calin in the Airbus A320. Remember, we gotta remind me that we need to do our manual descent as opposed to controlled. Then we're going to go from New Caledonia over to Wallis and Futuna, then back to Fiji. And I could do... Well, either way, we're going to have to come back. We're going to be coming to Fiji quite a bit, and probably a few months from now, we're going to get into the ATR 76 and do a bunch of flights around Fiji and up to Tuvalu and back. So look forward to that. Next flight, we're going to be in the A320. Next 3 flights will be in the A320 before doing 4 flights in the Boeing 737. Oh no, a couple flights in the Boeing 738, back into the A320 for another 3, then into the 738 for another 4, and then we'll get into the ATR 76 for 5 flights. So I have a little bit of time to get familiar with the ATR 76, and that should be pretty fun. Alright, well, thanks for coming along in the flight. I gotta go. I don't think I have things set up properly, though, or... Never do. Got all this time in during the flight, and I don't get things set up properly. Just click that. Stream in tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, the usual time. We'll do that flight over to Niue, Caledonia. I get there. No. Alright, well, until next time, I will see you tomorrow morning. You guys take care and happy flying. See you, Micah.